Hello, hi, my name is Matthew Monroy. Over the course of one full day, I paid close attention to the moments in which I either heard or saw Spanish around me, and I realized just how deeply the language is involved into the moments of my everyday life as a San Jose State student. Spanish is not just a language I use occasionally. It is the main language that surrounds me from the moment that I wake up in the mornings until I go to sleep at night. Because I live in a Spanish speaking household, my mornings always tentatively begin in Spanish. When I wake up, I greet my parents and talk to them about how I slept and what I plan to do during the day at San Jose State University. These conversations are always relaxed and natural. We discuss simple things like what we're going to have for breakfast and what are my plans for the day and even what times will I be heading back home and leaving. In this space, Spanish for me serves like a language of love, family, and comfort. It's how we stay connected and maintain a sense of closeness throughout the course of our everyday lives. When I leave for San Jose State, Spanish continues to be part of my routine, even if I'm by myself. Sometimes I listen to Spanish language music or a podcast during my morning commute. Hearing songs and stories in Spanish helps me feel more awake and connect to my culture as I start my day. I also notice that Spanish appears in small ways during my commute, such as in radio ads that switch between Spanish and English to reach different audiences. Even though I'm physically moving from home to San Jose State since I'm a commuter, Spanish stays with me, almost like a companion that is with me throughout the course of the day. Once I am on campus, the environment shifts more towards English. Most of my classes, as a matter of fact, almost all of them, are conducted in English, and most of my professors and classmates use it as their primary language, except for the Mexican folklorico class, because that one is in Spanish, because it's a Mexican folklore dance class. Still, Spanish never fully disappears. Sometimes I overhear other students speaking Spanish to one another as they walk between classes or sit outside the student union. Hearing Spanish in these moments makes me feel connected to something larger, a reminder that even in an English-dominant environment like San Jose State, there's still a strong sense of community who share the same linguistic and cultural background as I do. During my time on campus, I also find myself thinking in Spanish even if I don't say it out loud. It's almost as if my inner thoughts naturally flow in Spanish, even when I'm functioning in an English-speaking space. After my classes are over, I return home and the switch back to Spanish happens immediately. As soon as I walk in the door, I greet my parents and tell them about my day, what classes I had, what I learned, and anything interesting that might have happened to me throughout the course of the day. These evening conversations are much longer and more detailed, and they give me a chance to process everything that had happened to me during that day. I also would watch what's it called, the TV news in Spanish with my parents, like a news broadcast. The news helps my parents stay informed about what's happening in both the US and Latin America. And in this sense, Spanish serves both as an informative and emotional role since it keeps us connected to the wider Spanish-speaking world while also bringing us together as close people. Looking back at the full day, I realized that Spanish was present in almost every environment I moved through. At home, on my way to the campus in the morning, at San Jose State, and again at home in the evening. It was used for communication, for self-reflection, and even for entertainment. Each time and place had a slightly different function for the Spanish language. At home, Spanish was used for intimacy, love, and connection. During my commute, it became a way to stay engaged with my culture through music and the media. At the university, it was a private language for thinking and occasionally a social language for connecting with other Spanish-speaking students. And at night, it turned into a shared cultural experience through television and conversation. And also, Spanish was also used alongside English in several ways. Even though my home life is mostly in Spanish, I still rely on English in school and in many public spaces. However, I realized how there's also code switching between English and Spanish, and this kind of code switching happens all the time, and it reflects how bilingual people, such as myself, adapt fluidly between both languages depending on the situation. It doesn't mean that one language, like English or Spanish, is replacing one another. No, it's that I would like to say that they work together in a complementary way. After observing all this and my whole day, I will say that the vitality of Spanish in the San Jose area and San Jose State is strong. Even though English is dominant in most public and academic settings, Spanish continues to thrive in households, media, and everyday communication. The fact that it's so commonly used in conversation, music, and television, and the news broadcast shows that the Spanish language is not fading away. It is being actively maintained and passed down through families like mine. Spanish serves as a living link between generations and a symbol of cultural identity. Its presence in my daily life proves that the language is vibrant, adaptable, and deeply rooted in people and their communities. Thank you.